If we look at sex abstractly, it is the coming together of two distinct patterns of energy so as to create a synergy of some kind, a third pattern of energy that is beyond and distinct from the two patterns of energy. Sometimes it's somewhat of a replication, and sometimes you have a third energy emerging that is different, that's more complex. In that sense, a corporation is the synergy or sex of the numbers of individuals and materials and different parts that are in it. Every manufactured item is a combination of various patterns of parts of that item. And at a basic level, we can see that we have the atom, which is formed out of the sex or synergy of protons, neutrons, and electrons. And then we have biological molecules that contain thousands of atoms. And then we have organisms emerging out of a certain number of molecules. And then we have organisms having sex to create a child, a replica, etc. And then we have the family emerging out of that synergy of sexual couplings. We have a culture emerging out of multiple families. We have a species, but we also have the phenomena of sex as an interplanetary synergy, where energy patterns from one planet migrate to another planet, and a possibility field is opened up. That other planet is impregnated with something from the other planet, from another planet, and a synergy and new patterns of life emerge. Now, on this level, human beings are the sexual organs, whether it's the human animal, the human being, the human combination of, at the very least, the rational reptile, the rational brain and the reptilian brain, forming together with enlightened self-interest, are the first organisms, on Earth at least, that have the capacity to project patterns of energy from Earth to the moon, to Mars, and expanding, right? So if we look at the human projects right now, currently spearheaded by Elon Musk, to bring life patterns from Earth to Mars and create a sustainable ecology of human beings, of plants, of animals, we can see that Mars in this dynamic is in a receptive mode, so at least in the role, that Earth is using one of its creatures, human beings, to project patterns of energy to Mars, which may create a successful ecology, which may give birth to a replication of some of Earth's pattern on Mars. But in this sense, the human body is the primary sexual organism at this time on Earth, transmitting energy patterns out. And the question is, will the new impregnated planet be stillborn, right? What will its childhood be like, right? What are the conditions to bring certain life patterns? And does it transform another planet or simply create a little pocket of distinct energy, an oasis? But sexuality, the process of synergizing, the process of creating more and more complex structures of energy that build upon and combine more simple modules. You can think of it as Lego blocks, right? As soon as life creates a Lego piece, which has a series of atoms in it, then those Lego pieces can start building together to create a whole plethora of different complex designs. And any of those designs that reach a self-replicating level become a sustainable part of the ecology. And then the self-replicating patterns of energy each are competing to a certain extent for energy, right? So the most efficient self-replicating patterns of energy tend to expand in influence and scale, as human beings and rats are both doing on the planet today, are consuming more energy from less complex patterns and reformatting that into sustainable territory, sustainable forms for human beings. And human beings provide a lot of infrastructure for rats. So rats are expanding, in sewers and, the garbage to eat the 50% of food that's being thrown out, and so you have a human expansion right now. But it also makes a certain amount of sense if you can think of, how much inefficiency and how much waste and how much consumption is being allocated to the human body, right? Within ourselves, we also tend to obsess a lot about sex and procreation, right? And so the focus within a human life on sex and procreation tends to be higher than on the focus of growing nails, other than on how it affects aesthetics, or the focus of pinky strength, right? So human beings spend a lot more attention and energy pursuing sexuality and procreation in various ways than they do on growing tougher fingers or planting plants or doing any number of other things. And so it also makes a certain amount of sense. There's a certain amount of symmetry as Earth allocates more of its energy and resources to the human body as its vehicle of transmitting patterns to other planets, of enabling its sexual organism, a human being, to facilitate the projecting of semen, the projection of patterns of life and energy into the solar system, into the galaxy, such that regardless of when Earth is consumed in its larger life cycle of birth and death, which will tie in a lot with what happens with the sun over billions of years, that planetary life that evolves on Earth can continue beyond the lifespan of this planet.